Okay, unmuted. Ooh, I don't want to hear myself. Okay. Oh, right. I think I'm supposed to mute the tab like that. Okay. So I heard my audio was working because that's why I had to mute it. So that all sounded okay. All right. So today, all right. This is another practice session for streaming. Last weekend I tried it and I could not get YouTube to work. They made me wait 24 hours, but it's working today. So what's going on? So today I'm starting off working on the uh, AI lip syncing video software. That's what I was working on last time as well. So it works. It's been working. Del Noren, a Star Citizen streamer, um, has been working with me to test it out. So he has the user interface for this app, which is called Lip Sync Flow. He has the user interface that allows him to enter in all the scripts and other options to modify how the scripts will be rendered. And then he sends those to me as zip files, and I load them up into the queue on my computer, and they render using my GPU, which is a 4090, and that seems to be about the minimum, but probably a 3090 with 24 gig of RAM, VRAM would probably work as well. I just haven't been able to test one of those. I actually tried it the other day, but I had to send it back because it didn't work on my computer. Uh, Computer was probably too old, my secondary computer, and I don't want to mess with my main computer, my main dev computer, right? Has my 4090 in it. So um, probably a 3090 with 20. It's the RAM, the 24 gig of VRAM. That's the problem. You need that to make sure that you don't run into any out of memory errors on the GPU as you're rendering. And these videos, the longer they are, the higher quality you tell it to render, as the more memory it's going to consume. And this whole thing has been set up in such a way to be able to work on a consumer level GPU instead of these more expensive, 20,000 or higher dollar GPUs. Yes, literally $20,000 for one GPU is what the big companies use for their AI rendering. But if you uh, chop up the pieces of the work that needs to be done and do them over time instead of trying to do them all at once, you can get a nice uh, video lip syncing system going, which is what I have here, and it works. So anyway, and you can, if you check out stantonradio.com, that's the example of so that's an example of using this software to create these characters. Let's get past the commercials. Okay. Huh. Why is it not playing right now? Maybe he has updated the link in the background. I'm going to have to get the new one. Interesting. That was working. Okay. Let me check. Yeah, those work. So that's not a good example right now. I'm going to have to look into that. Let me refresh just in case it was Rumble being slow or something. Yeah, it plays the commercials just fine. It has the right time. I'm not sure why it's not playing. Yeah, look directly on Rumble. See if I can find his newest stream. He might have updated that one and didn't give me the new link, or he did and I just haven't seen it. Norman. Oh boy, how do I find his main video? Oh boy, he's the one who usually gives them to me, so I'm not sure where it's at. It's got to be in this list somewhere, probably the first one or something. He's all broken out. There's a bunch of little ones. How do I find the big one? Is it? Huh. It's unfortunate. I don't know how to find it. He has so many videos. Huh. Passed out. I don't know. This is well, I could look in the code and see what he had. Okay, right there. I think that's it. So let's try playing that. Yeah, that's the original, and that one's not playing either. It's kind of, oh, there it goes. It's starting. All right, interesting. Let's move over to here. So, well, I guess I should turn on the audio, including an OBS. Got to remember. How do I do that? I think I just hit this button. All right, let's try it again. There we go. There we go. So that's a lip sync AI character right there from one of his scripts, and he's got basically 5 hours of this um, radio show, which includes a lot of these scripts plus music, songs playing. Yeah, but they're having some kind of a streaming issue with that. So it was the right video link, but it's not. Yeah, mute the desktop again just in case. So that is an example of the type of characters that you can create with this. So he's created an entire radio show out of it. Um, very long 5-hour one with more to come. He has sent me more scripts recently to do, which leads to what is going on with the rest of this. So let me go and close this one out and this one. All right, so this user interface, let me go ahead and run it. I don't run it with cursor. I just use cursor for the AI part of it, but I run it from Visual Studio. Like, oops, wrong one. That's a different UI. Bum, 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 bum. Right there. All right, so I guess I should pull back and get used to explaining what could not be opened. Do you want to? No. Okay, so where was it looking for that at? Let's see. Okay, on that. No, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. Yeah, the AIX. When I created a new UI for a different part of the system, which I'll get to in a sec, but the AI had unfortunately named it exactly the same as my actual UI, the one that Del Noren uses, this one here, and so it was in my list. It confused me. I forgot it had done that. I ended up having to rename the other one. Okay, so what's the purpose of all this? Well, because I need to get used to explaining this over and over. I've started this website here. Oops, let me okay, called Stream Team. And over the past 2 years, basically every evening and weekend, started off as how do I train myself to switch my entire career over to do software development or whatever solution development, automations, basically with AI, rather than just me coding directly. Um, you know, first I had to prove to myself that the AI can actually code what I code. I've been doing it since I was a kid, so it's about 40 years of nonstop coding. And so I know how to go about what I do. And at first I didn't believe the AI could do it. And at first it looks like it can't do it because I wasn't using it effectively. And over the years, it's gotten better as well. But the prompt writing and putting um, mental image in your mind of what it sees. It's like putting yourself in somebody else's. That's what I'm trying to dance around. I don't want to call the AI somebody else, but that's essentially what you have to do is think of it as somebody else and try to put yourself in their shoes, especially if it's like an intern that's very well read of like the whole internet. You kind of think of the AI like that. It's an intern that's very well read and has a photographic memory, and and put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, what do they not know that they need to know to do what I would do to complete this task? And that's pretty much it. You just have to ask yourself that. And we're not very good at that in general anyway at work. You see that all the time. People are in a meeting, they're iterating through ideas. They don't go, here's all the exact details of every context that is associated with the subject matter to achieve the solution that we're trying to get to. It doesn't work that way. You bring up ideas and somebody shoots down an idea or adds to an idea, and it goes back and forth, iterating over and over until you get everything flushed out and cleaned up and organized into a framework that you can then chop up and turn into documents and work items and such. And so you just got to look at it like that. That's the interface, like using a mouse or keyboard is an interface to the computer, thinking about how the AI's position, what its context is, what it would think, what you would think in its shoes is another way of using the computer. And so um, once I got into that mode, I was able to get it to do what I wanted and believed that it could do real coding because I watched it iterate with me for hours, like 8 hours straight, 12 hours straight, until it got every problem fixed. And if you just stop when it first tries and the first build shows 348 errors when you try to build the app, it's like, well, this thing obviously doesn't know what it's doing. There's errors all over the place. So you just give up and go on. No, that happens with humans too. You write code, you try to run it, and you go, oh, I forgot this, I messed that up, I typoed something, and it's always like that. No, you never write code perfectly the first time. So you iterate with the AI, and you can do that in a chat interface, but it's much easier with Cursor because it just has this built-in loop where you can just keep going and letting it go. You can tell it certain things it can do automatically and just let it keep going on its own for 20 minutes of doing things. So um, anyway, so once I got to that point, then it's just a matter of, okay, how do I make myself really good at doing that over and over and over and over? And the best way to do that is just by working it to make real things, not toys. And so that's what this stream team is. All that is to say that's what the stream team is I built these apps. They're already built. It took me a lot of time working with AI nonstop over and over and over and over. To make all of these. And so there's 3 of them on this website now. And this one I'm working on today is a 4th that I haven't put up here yet. And basically so it says lip sync video creator. It's a software package for allowing people at home with commodity consumer GPUs that have 24 gig of virtual memory or video memory or more at home to make these types of AI videos. You don't have to have a service. You don't have to pay for a service. You can render 100 of them, and if half of them are junk, you won't care. Just render them again. You can practice without worrying about the cost. And if you have any if you're worried about any uh, proprietary stuff because you're creating something that you actually plan on making a product with or something, then you don't have to worry about that being stolen by using somebody else's service, uh, which is a very real thing in this world. So rendering at home on your own gives you all of the same advantages of doing everything as a creator with your own Adobe software or whatever software that we've been doing for decades now. So once that got working, which is obviously now working because Del Norn was able to make Stanton Radio with it, my next step was how do I get it out to people like Del Norn so that they can do their own rendering without, because he's sending it to me for now, was for testing, but I wanted to put it in his hands so he could just do it on his own and hopefully tens of thousands of other people so they can do it on their own. He doesn't know Python. He didn't want to learn Python or mess with Python or mess with really any type of installing or anything at all. So what I've done is I've totally re-engineered the service so that it works on a USB drive, just like this. And this is one of them right here. I've got 2 so far that I'm using for testing. And I got to do some more testing on some other computers that do not have the software yet, because before you distribute software, it's best to try it out as many times as you can on computers that have never seen that Python. Like, I don't want Python even installed on the computers because that's the way most of the people receiving these will be set up. They won't even have Python on their computers, and you don't want them to have to start messing with that to get it to work. So, and it's been working for me so far, but I need to do some more testing to make sure I haven't tricked myself. But you just plug in the USB. I ship somebody that the orders off the website this USB. It's a 250 gig USB. That's why it's nice to download. It's got all of the um, AI models already downloaded and installed in the right way, and the Python setup for multiple services are actually installed on here and already set up, set and configured so that you don't have to do anything. You just plug it in, and then you run one of 2 user interfaces. There's this one here. That's the new one I was referring to. Let me start another Visual Studio. Well, I don't need to start the Visual Studio. I can. Where is it living? Oh, all right. It's in the service. So let me find the. It's going to be on the F drive. So let me just jump there. So the F drive is another one of these USBs that I have plugged in. So that's the actual service itself, which is really three Python services. One is a coordinator that the user interface talks to, and then the other two, one is a um, text to speech and a voice mimicker, and then it takes the output from that and adds it to the other AI service, which is a lip sync video service. So it first makes the text and turns it into some voice, and then takes the voice and a initial picture of a character in some scene and says, make this character say whatever this voice is saying. You don't have to give it the text for it. It just make it say whatever this voice and this audio file is saying, and with a little bit of text to talk about what the character, um, like what type of facial expressions or whatever they have, um, while they are speaking the audio from the voice. So to control that service, let me just do it this way. To control that service, I made this other user interface here recently, and this is just to make it so that the people like Del Norn who get it and plug it in, they don't even have to go to the command line and start the apps or the Python apps or anything. You can click on this and it will start the services. So here, I think it should work. I don't think I have anything else running on these same ports right now. Let's see here. Oops, I guess I should have clicked on that so that it opened them up, but you can see it's back there starting to spin them up now. And the idea is then these three services will kick in automatically, start when you hit that button, can minimize it, go away, start up the main user interface, which is it here? Did I already run it? Yeah, I think I already ran it. Yeah, right here. So this is the main user interface that Del Norton uses. Though it's obviously just super blank right now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that part just yet. I have some ideas, but so this form here inside is where he sets up the scripts. And then when you're ready with your script, you can say, send one of or whatever rows you have selected, or you can say to send everything in the script to be rendered. And then it will connect back here if these are running. All services started successfully. Let's see. Yeah, okay, they did. So, like I said, there's the text chatterbox service is the wrapper around this chatterbox AI model to do text to speech. Multi-talk is same thing, wrapper around a video rendering model for doing lip syncing, and then this is the workflow that controls these two and puts everything together and accepts the jobs that get sent from this user interface and all that. So that, as you can see, I didn't have to do any Python anything. I just started up this user interface on the USB that has the AI services on it. Hit the button, wait for them to start up, and same thing when you hit stop, and they'll slowly shut down. And you can see the job queue back here if you want to see what's going on. You can see hello world there from me testing it out here recently. So this makes it so that the people get these USBs and plug them in, just run this app instead of doing what I normally do and start up the command line and run them directly. So that makes it much easier. And then this interface is easy enough to use. I need to create some documentation and hopefully eventually convert it over to something that works even slicker, looks a bit more like a web page, maybe is an embedded web page, something like that. But for now, this is very functional and works, and I don't need to make it pretty. It just needs to get even more functional. So that's what I'm working on today. That whole big long description was about that. How do I get to, or why am I even doing these USB drives and this lip sync flow app? It's all to support this, and it's the final app that I want to get done before launching this. It's already actually launched. It's on Patreon. So this gives an example showing how you sign up. You can go to Patreon. If you're already a Patreon account, you already have one, you can just log in, if not, create one. And then you look up the story runners for Stream Team, and it's you subscribe to it. It's like I said, it's a membership. And then that makes it so that you can connect your Patreon account to Discord if you haven't already, and then that gives you access to the Stream Team Discord server where I've got like links to download those apps, and the apps check to make sure you're a member of that Discord server for the apps will start. Though I may not do that, the lip sync flow when and then and other things are shared in there. Like I've got extra plugins for the apps that didn't come with the apps, but I made them later, and so I just upload them onto the Discord, and you can download them. Other people can share their plugins that they make. If any developers join and they feel in the mood to make their own plugins, they can just publish them up there for all the other members to get and use. Um, I've got sample links to where you can find open source voice samples online. So if you need a bunch of different people's voices, so you can create characters, um, I have those all up there. So it's not just for getting access to the software. It's a place to share extra things as well. And this just describes that whole process, which is really just Patreon, sign up, connect to Discord, jump in and download the apps, start using them. But in the case of this USB, I have to look into it more. I think Patreon, I think they support a way to put things like this up there for sale, and that's what I'll need to do, because obviously the USB itself costs money, and then shipping it costs money in the software. So I'll have to look into that. Hopefully, at least what I'm thinking right now is maybe just selling those without requiring the Discord membership, and then it will come with the software for if you do have the Discord membership or the Patreon membership, and then that kind of encourages people who get it to try it out, and if they like it, maybe look into the other apps and actually join the Patreon and join the Discord server and try out all the other apps, which are, quite frankly, I really like all of them. And I think they're all worth a try. And this Whisper Stream obviously could be used in conjunction with this lip syncing software that does audio to text. So if you have somebody saying something, now you want to turn it to text, and then take that text and put it into the AI lip syncing, you can make a different person or a character of some kind, alien or whatever, with another voice say the same text, and you could automate all this. So if you have hundreds of them to be done, you can set that all up. The Tell AI is a fun, like a story generator slash. I think of it, especially as I grow it more, if people support this, is sort of like a virtual dungeon master. So it's not only telling you a story and letting you make choices about which direction you want to go with the story, or put in your own direction you want to go with it. That can obviously be the foundation of a type of role-playing game situation, though with a virtual dungeon master. And I've created a 300-page book with it already. I've just kept going and going and going with it, and it's all recorded and all up on the YouTube and Rumble if you want to check it out. Let's see if I can. Where would that be? Did I have a quick link to that? Oh yeah, I do actually. I have a quick link in here, right up here at the Darkening Mind. So this story, which I have, like you see, I have on YouTube, 300 pages long, and it's all made with Tell Me a Tell AI, and it did a really good job. So that's a fun app as well. Okay, so let me jump out of all of that. So that's enough chit-chatting. Background. Okay. So what do I want to work on this Saturday? The UI. All right. That's one thing. Is this feature here, let me open an example. Maybe that one. It's not long enough. It's probably recent because I wanted a short one to test with. Let's try maybe that one. And no, it's not broken. I think it should have multiple items if it's a long one. There we go. So 2 rows. So I have this feature here, parse multiple sentences, paragraphs into separate entries. And it's because if you paste in something long here, we need to break it up in some way because the AI model, the lip syncing model, was only made for 5 seconds worth of speaking, and you can stitch together multiple 5 seconds, but from working with the Del Noren, what I ended up finding out is because he didn't care about the limit, he was just put it in what he wanted it to do. I found out you can actually go quite a bit past 5 seconds and it works just fine. I think 18, 20 seconds, like 4 times what I thought was the limit. It seems to work just fine. So, but there is a limit. So as you get past maybe 2 or 3 sentences worth of speaking, maybe 4, depending how long they are, it does start messing up with the some of the video, how it renders. The callers get off. But in any case, there's a hard limit of 30 seconds, and then it just cuts off if you go that long. So there's a finite amount that you could put in, and you need to split up in some way. And at first, I put this feature in here, this checkbox, which works. If you paste some text in here, no matter how long, a whole page worth, 2 pages worth, what doesn't matter, and then check that box, it will automatically split it up into sentences and create one of these rows right here per sentence, which is an individual video being rendered. So then you just have sentence after sentence being in separate videos that you stitch together into your final video. But that causes some kind of issue where you're constantly having to stitch together these per sentence clips, and it can be noticeable that you're going from clip to clip, either because of some minor difference in the actual video itself, like in the background, maybe it renders something a little bit different, or puts something in her hands that, like one of the radio speakers sometimes will pick up some piece of paper, like she's looking at something as she's telling part of the news or whatever. So, and that just randomly appears. The AI decides to randomly put it in. And so stitching together all those clips become more difficult than if you could have a up to 30-second long clip that stays consistent throughout that clip. And so doing it per sentence isn't as good as if you could chop it up by 3 or 4 sentences, but it doesn't do that automatically. It just does it by sentence right now. And so I manually did it for all of his hundreds of current videos. But I don't want to do that anymore, and I know the users don't want to do that. So that's the first thing I want to look into, is how to, and I'm not going to code it, I'm going to use AI to do it, is change this feature to do it by 2 or 3 sentences at a time. I'm not sure exactly what the logic will be. We'll work that out with AI. We'll iterate it. So let me jump over to cursor, lip sync flow UI. So that's it. And we'll take and start working. Now I need to get a prompt set up here to get the AI started with understanding the overall structure of the part of the app that I'm interested in looking at. Because otherwise it's going to have to look at all the code and all of the app to try to get started, build its own initial context. And that leads to potential, runarounds with it as I try to get it centered on what I actually want. So what I'm going to do is find the form that contains the script writing. I don't remember what it's called now. forms. Script entry dialog. It's already highlighted. That's it. So I'm going to just drag and drop that up into cursor so it can see that code initially as part of the prompt, which is basically the code behind the form itself. And it can, that's a close enough start. I can tell it, in fact, if I get the checkbox label, what it says, then that will help as well, because I can give it that label as text and say, look for this particular checkbox. I don't remember exactly what it said, but there. Okay. Parse multiple sentences. That's close enough. It doesn't have to be exact. It's the nice thing about AI is it could be fuzzy with it. The parse multiple sentences. That's what it was called, right? Yeah. The parse multiple sentences checkbox is used in the feature for splitting the, let's label the text, the text entry for script items. Call them entries, script entries. Okay, so remember, I'm thinking of the AI as being like an intern that's very well read. I'm trying to put myself in its shoes and think about what it would need to accomplish this task. So the parse multiple sentences checkbox is used in the feature for splitting the text entry. The text, I'll say the TTS text, text-to-speech text for script entries. Into multiple rows. The script text into multiple entry rows. Let's try it like that. Okay, so yes, it's going to take that text, parse it up into multiple rows by or as individual sentences. Now, I want you to change this feature to estimate $30 or less of speaking time worth of sentences and split by this amount instead of single sentences every time. For example, because that's worded a little bit weird, technically correct, but I want to give it an example. For example, don't need it. One super long sentence could take nearly 30 seconds, and four small sentences could take nearly the same amount of time. It depends on the number of total words. However, we want to split on whole sentences. We need a strategy for doing this kind of dynamic text splitting. Come up with a plan, and I confused it by saying, I think earlier I said, I want you to change, I want you to, yeah, I want you to, I don't want to change anything yet. No, because the way, for anybody who's watching this, I've built my own neural networks, dozens of them, as part of my training for AI over the past 8 years. And so I've used this stuff a lot. And the way I built many apps with AI, purely AI at this point. So the way I always approach this is I don't just write out the prompts like this. I try to start off like this, and I get it to generate all the rest of the information that becomes my prompts from there forwards. I have it do the prompting of itself. I just bootstrap it like this. And so instead of saying, go change things, no, I want you to inspect. I want it to learn, build its own context, and then write that context out, come up with a plan. And then that plan goes into a document. I have it create a file, and then I put that file in as prompt for the next part where I say, now implement this plan. That's a big, it's not really a secret, but it's the secret sauce of how to use AI. Is you need a chain of flow of consistency, just like with these videos where everybody wants a consistent recreation of the same character, or a consistent rendering of the character speaking the entire chunk of whatever that they are saying. You don't want random things happening in the middle of that. So you also want the same thing with coding. You want a consistent, logical structure, flow, conversation to happen all the way through to the final completion of the entire thing. And to do that, you have to keep these prompts flowing consistently. You don't want to have to start over and get and maybe take a little bit of a different angle the next time that you explain things, and so it starts doing things in an inconsistent way from what you had it doing before. Just follow this pattern of get it to build the context and save it out to a file that becomes your input for the next step. So I'm going to have it come up with a plan. What changes to the existing code is needed to achieve this? There is a docs subfolder in this project. So create a new doc in that folder and save the plan in this new doc. And that's it. That should be all it needs. It'll go look at the code, come up with a plan of some kind, put it into the document. I'll check it out. If I like what it came up with, then I'll go to the next step and tell it to go and start implementing it. Basically, following this process right here over and over is how you do it. There's lots of little, okay, when cursor gets stuck because of this, what do I do? Or you see it starting to say things that looks like it's maybe confused about something. What do I do? There's all that real world stuff, just like with any other work as it turns out. But the overall process is just this. And like I said, I've built every one of these apps with some kind of AI help along the way, as I was learning how to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd say probably 10 complete applications I've built now with just this hardcore AI approach. Okay, keep all to say keep all. I don't know what it came up with here. Code base not indexed. Start index. Oh, right. Yeah, to start indexing it. That's fine. Not sure why that one is not indexed. Yeah, it's on my E drive. That's the original. I don't know. Maybe I just never indexed it. Indexing in cursor is important because that helps it pre-inspect. Like I just told it to inspect code. Yeah, I do that anyway, no matter what, but it pre-inspects all of your code in that folder if you tell it to index it, and builds like a database, a knowledge base that it is able to search, doing contextual searching, which is like the first half of an LLM neural network. Is you create this contextual map, and you can save that contextual map out into a database and search it, and that's what they're doing. It's called a RAG database, and that's what they're doing here when they index it. So when I'm asking questions, it can ask questions of that internal database about your code, without going to some heavier AI and say, start from scratch and look at everything and figure it out. It just has it pre-figured out, makes it a lot quicker and faster. So what did it come up with here? Okay, that's the document. Okay, so up there in my docs folder, you can see it created this document. What do they call it? Time-based text splitting plan. Okay. I need to get an AI to read this back to me, but not right now. This document outlines the plan to modify the existing parse feature to split text. Current behavior, current code structure. Found the function that does the parsing currently. Good, good, good. The click event for triggering it. Yeah, see, it does exactly what it's supposed to. You want to update the checkbox text. Add configuration options. Time limit slider 15 to 60 seconds. Default 30. Okay, fine, whatever. It like an intern, it won't automatically assume the things that you consider to be hard set limits are hard set limits. I'll try to get creative, like it's right here. It's saying, well, they said 30 seconds or less, but I'll make a slider that goes 15 to 60 in case they ever want to do 60. No, I don't ever want to do 60. Max is 30 seconds. And I'll just tell it that, and it will get what I understand. It'll get what I mean. It'll go back and fix the. You can see right now. It's fixing the document right in front of us. Right there, max 30, 15 or 5 to 30 seconds. So that's still working on. It's going through all the places in the document that it has to change. Like that. Yep. Good, John. No. If a single sentence. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. If it will cut you off right in the middle if you hit 30 seconds, so that's fine. That's a good warning. Okay, so parse text by speaking time. First split into sentences. Good job, because that's the boundary. Group sentences into time-based chunks. How did you figure that out? Estimate words for time. For each sentence, add the sentence would exceed the limit. Start a new chunk. Perfect. Add remaining sentences as final chunk. Perfect. Okay. Math, so in seconds. words per minute, 150 words per minute. Okay, so that's the algorithm. I don't know how reasonable that is. Let's pull up a browser here and ask. What is the average words per spoken minute? Let's see what they mean by that. Typoed that. Okay. Between 110 and 150. We'll change that to 125. Somewhere in between. And we'll worry about adjusting or allowing it to be adjusted or whatever later. It may have already done it in the interface, and it's just a default, which that is, and a default, and maybe it passes in words per minute through the UI. I didn't really see up here if it gave an example of it doing that. Max seconds. No, so it does not pass it in. It just sticks with the default, which is fine by now. For now, we'll probably make that configurable because this is all. This whole app is like a workflow. It's made for people who are anywhere from amateurs to I guess professionals, semi-professionals, depending on how professional you are. If you have a lot of money, you may just buy like your own data center type setup with very expensive $100,000 AI server or something. But if you're not in that category, this app's for you, so you can run this at home and do it. Count words. Okay, so it's basically splitting each sentence. All right, that looks like it got the general idea of what I was looking for, and a lot of this is reference information for it. It's the background it needs, so I can start from scratch, because I told it to inspect the code. When I start with the next conversation, I won't be starting with inspect the code. I'm just going to give it this document, which has details about where to look and what is important to change, and even gives example code snippets and all that. So it says the name of the file where it exists, so I don't have to do any of that. If it wants to see that file, which it will, because it's going to add code to it, that bit of the prompt right there in this document that it generated will tell it in the next conversation, go look in that file. I won't have to do any of that. That's really the secret sauce of this whole thing, is getting it to build its own prompts and then refeeding those in next time. That's what I'm about to do here. Watch. Now I have this backed up. That's a very important thing also. Especially until you get really good at doing this, but I mess up as well, as in I mess up in my guidance of the AI, and sometimes it goes down some alley that it shouldn't be going down, and makes changes I didn't want it to make, and now I'm back. I've regressed. It's broken something, and now instead of adding in the feature I want, I'm fighting with it to get it to try to undo the problem. Well, I don't let myself get in that situation usually now. I just back up stuff, and I have multiple backups of this already, so it could totally mess up my entire project here, make the whole UI broken, which doesn't normally happen. And but if it does, I don't care. I'll just delete this and go to a backup and start over. But that's very important, more so now than in the past, probably, backing things up. Though as a human, you could break your stuff like that too. I have. Okay, so all right, so this document contains a implementation implementation plan for a feature adjustment in this app. Darn it, man. In this application. Implement the plan. That's it. You know, you see all these people talking about becoming prompt engineers and how to, it's, if you pretend like the AI is a competent intern that has a photographic memory and they've read the entire internet, just approach it that way. It works. I've done it many times. And throughout this process, maybe not with this feature, it's relatively small, but and when building an entire application for sure, I have it building multiple these documents. Because once again, you don't want like one giant document with every aspect of the whole application in it. You want AI to be focused in on something, and it doesn't. That's the part of that humans do that AIs are not good at yet, or at least not the ones I pay for. Um, who knows how far along they actually are internally, but um, so I do the job of focusing it myself. That's my job, is to help it focus on a slice of what needs to be of the application and say, this is what the area where something needs to be done. Here's what I need you to do, and here's what I want you to produce along the way to show me what you're thinking or what needs to be done or what's been done so far, the steps and that need to be done and what you've done on those and that sort of thing, so you can guide it along and then obviously review its work. Okay, now another, even though I said that's it, actually I forgot a step here. Cursor does have a feature built into it now, or kind of does this on its own anyway, but not as comprehensively and not integrating me into the loop, the human in the loop that I want. So it does have this own auto to-do list built-in feature put in a couple months ago, but I prefer to go further with it. So oh, no, darn it. Stop it. Thank you. All right. I accidentally hit enter instead of space enter, and so it just started going. Okay. Let me just kill this whole conversation. Start over. Drag the file in. Control. Ah, darn it. I did it again. It's not control enter, it's shift enter. Okay. And okay, so implement the plan. Okay, right. So this document contains an implementation plan. Create a progress document. No. And implementation progress document, because now I'm the manager of this AI and I want progress as it's getting the job done. It's that type of thinking. So create an implementation progress document with the 3 categories. So it's to-dos at the bottom, tasks, okay, progress document broken into sections, tasks, to-dos. To implement this plan in code, this document in the docs subfolder. Keep this document up to date as you implement the plan so that I can be kept up on the progress. This is less important on smaller features like this one, but I'm showing anyone who happens to watch this what, how to approach it. Implement the plan so that I can be kept up on the progress. And we'll watch the document, and so we can see it working. You can see it working over on the chat window as well. But once again, this is broken out more for us to read. It's easier for a human to follow along. So implement the point. Okay, great. And implement. Okay, now I want it to go. Oh, great implementation. Yeah, see, it created its own to-do list there. That's a new feature I talked about. And here is, so basically this is its report to us. We're the manager, it's the employee, and it's going to be working on implementing this and checking off the things that are being done so we can see it progressing. It's like a super awesome progress bar. All right, so I'm going to take a break for a second and be right back. Okay, actually, before I do that, yeah, what's that? Yeah, I meant to send this to my son in Discord. I got started, but it took so long to get started. Forgot. All right, now I'm taking my break. I'll be right back in a few minutes. It's checked a few things off. Wants to do a build. Okay. It's doing that single line build thing, which I don't think works half the time for some reason. And I don't know why it loves doing it. I need to create a permanent like note or prompt. I think there's, now maybe that wasn't Cursor, but one of these AI apps have a way to build in little note prompts that auto inserts all the time as you're doing all the rest of your work. So behind the scenes, puts it in for you. I need to do something like that with this. Tell it to stop doing these multi single line PowerShell command and just do it in 2 steps. Switch to the directory, then run the build. We'll see if it works this time. And it did not. And it's trying to do it. Okay, I'm just going to stop it right here. Yeah, I need to look around further and see if they've got that feature now, hopefully. But anyway, this is Windows. Do not do multiple command line commands. Hold it. Multiple commands on a single line. Break them into steps. Do not use the cat command, which it likes doing because that's a thing on Linux. Keep all your progress. And that's another important reason to have this whole thing backed up. So you can just keep saying, keep all your changes and keep going. You don't have to like do your review along the way. That'll slow everything down. Have everything backed up, let it go, 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 go. If it messes everything up, just revert. Otherwise, let it go as fast as possible. Okay. All right. Okay. So who knows if it's in the right directory though? Okay. Oh, it's probably running. Yeah. Oh, darn it. All right, there. You cannot build while it's running. Okay. Yeah, finally, those warnings were all basically saying, I can't do anything right now because the app's running. I had to go shut it down. Add minimum chunk size handling, improve edge case handling, better handling. Okay. So it just did phase one. Clean document. Okay, so it's basically saying the majority of it is in place. So let's go just, I know I said it's going to take a break, but this is the way it always goes when I'm working. I keep delaying everything to keep working. But I'll make myself stop here in a second. Yeah, I need a test. So to start a new one, add a quick test character. Okay, and then I need some kind of example text. Hmm. Do not know. Find something interesting. Not really. This has to be long. It's got a bunch of code in it. I don't want that. Okay, here's like 2 paragraphs. See if I can grab this. Okay, got it. So let's paste, pick my character, paste in the text. So yeah, let me do it in Notepad so you can see what I saw there. Okay, so that's what I got. I don't know, some technical web page from like University of Illinois or something. It's kind of AI stuff, I think. So 2 paragraphs. I want it to split this up not by sentence, but maybe into these 2 paragraphs, because that's 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 1 sentence, 2 sentences. So yeah, that should probably be 2 rows. We'll see if it worked. Okay, and that's all you have to do. Everything else is optional. And it did not give me 2 rows. So it did not work. So I need to go back and tell it it did not work. Did I get rid of the notepad? That's some logs. Yeah, I got rid of the notepad. Let me paste paste it in there. Keep it. I'm going to test over and over. Okay. So just like with humans, do not work. It doesn't work on the first pass. Create generic. Okay. I tested with a chunk of text that included 2 paragraphs, each with 2 sentences. I checked the checkbox and it only produced a single row. If need be, add temporary logging to see what is going on. So that's a thing that it came up with on its own in the past. When I was working with it on one project that I was stuck on, I had asked it to, why is it slamming back so far? I had asked it to help me debug a issue, and it just ended up adding in logging to file, and then it went and read the logging file. It's like, that's the way I want this to happen every time in the future. I don't have to keep copying and pasting stuff to it over and over. I want it to generate its own logs and inspect what's going on inside the app and just continue on. I want it to just keep working as much as possible and not have to have me in the loop for every single decision and debugging step. Like I said, I've got the whole thing backed up, so I want it to go through that process as much as possible automatically. To a certain degree, I don't want to just let it run nonstop overnight or something like that. So that's why I told it to do that logging thing. It's going to investigate why it didn't work. Now I'm taking my break. All right. And it found some stuff. Oh, add logging. Okay, now let's do a build. Do I have it running? No. Okay. Added Oh, no, that's still my Visual Studio. Okay. All right, so let's go test again. It, I need to figure out a way to get it to test the UI also, but right now I do the testing the UI myself. Though you can give it screenshots, which I do sometimes do, and say, okay, this is messed up in the UI, fix that. That's why I'm pretty certain I could get it to test the UI for me also. There's probably somebody out there right now building a AI into a UI testing framework. It's a good idea. I don't have time to work on that right now, though. Okay, so the test. Start a new script, add a character. Gotta have at least one character to get started. Add a script. Let's get my test text. Check the box, hit add. Yeah, I have to pick a voice, then hit add. And it did not split. Oh no, it's because logging. I'm here to get logging, right? I don't think it said it created a log file. I don't think I told it to. Yeah, it said it'll be in the debug window. Okay, so there it is. I'll give it, well, let me give it everything. Yeah. I try to be too smart sometimes and not give the AI enough of information that I have available, and then it goes off and does something that it shouldn't have because I assumed it didn't need to know something. It's definitely happened to me in the past working with these AIs. So okay, here are the debug logs. Okay, and then I paste them in, and that's it. It's just like if I was sending it in a chat or an email to my developer, you know. I just work with it like that. Like I've got this intern working for me. Okay, wants to build again. Thinks it found whatever it needed to do. Let me see, was it adding more logging or issues that your test text is too short to trigger the splitting behavior at the 150 words per minute, 30 seconds equals 74 words, and your text is only 74 words. Okay, so I want it to be half that amount. So what changed it? I'll temporarily lower the limit to 25 words per chunk instead of 75. So a third. I don't like that. Change from 25 to 35. Because it was about half of that, I think, is what I would have split it into, 2 paragraphs. Like this. If I was doing this manually, Delnoran scripts, I would have just taken that first half because that looks about the right size and threw it into one row, and I would have grabbed that, threw it in another row, and that's been working for me this whole time. Just like that, just kind of eyeballing it, and somehow it's under 30 seconds every time. So that's what I'm trying to get it to do, and build it into the user interface so that all of the users of this, if people will join me in Stream Team and buy this, and use it to make their own creations, then this is to make life easier on them. Try not to do that. Starts off with a new one. Hey, AI, you're getting better. Getting closer. Not better. You're already good. Just had to help you Try again. Okay, so it broke into 3 chunks this time. Let's see if it did it right. No, which I don't think it did, 'cause it should have been 3 or 2 chunks, I think. So that's 1 chunk, which is the first paragraph, it looks like. It got exactly correct through the air, yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, it got it exactly correct. So that's chunk 1. What's in chunk 2? Huh. Let's put that in probably in the 3rd chunk. This number of words, I assume 1, 2, 3. I don't know if that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it's longer than 25, so it must be leaving out certain things that it, I don't know, maybe it leaves out on and a or things like that. I don't know. So that came up with about 25. Or not 25, 35, I mean. So yeah, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so maybe it didn't leave out anything. It's just 31. So what about up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Huh. Yeah, it's doing it. So now, another issue I see here of things that we had to manually fix is like that. It's going to try to say that as a word probably. So really you'd want to do something more like something like that. I don't know. Maybe like that. ACMs. The character would probably say it like that. But can we create code to do that? Is the rule, can it come up with something like just look for capitals, multiple capitals in a row? Is there any situation where that would not work? You have to describe what to do with something like that on the end. So wouldn't like that to happen automatically. Well, the user might not. The user may or the user may not. I can't imagine every possible thing that somebody might put in. So we could probably do that and just make it a option. Okay, so what was in the 3rd chunk that it split out? Probably that last sentence. And it was. Yep, it did it all right. Okay, very good. I thought it was 2 chunks. And that's the idea of having it automated is instead of eyeballing it, it makes it so I don't have to worry about that anymore. I just put it in here and say go, and it does it, just like this for me. So that's great because he has another series of videos he sent to me needs to get done. And I'm sure that they're wordy, and this will help speed that up for me. And for all of you, if you join me and buy this, not that it's for sale yet, but I'm going to be testing it out heavily on Tuesday. I have another computer I'm going to have available to test this out on with the 4090 and everything. Brand new, doesn't have like a brand new is in like the computer's Windows is installed from scratch. No Python on it. We'll see what the app does when you plug it in into a situation like that. It should. Now I have a like a .NET update that's on the disk on the USB drive as well. But so that you can just run that if you want right from the start. But when I tested it before on another PC, that the app automatically popped up and said, okay, I see there's this .NET thing that you need. .NET comes from Microsoft. It's a lot of these apps that developers make or use a library called .NET, and it has a bunch of built-in like Windows, everything, like anything you'd need to make these desktop apps. All the stuff's built into it. As one example, you could has everything else built into it for making back-end servers too, and all kinds of things. So, anyway, if your Windows doesn't have the latest .NET library that this uses, then this app popped right up and said, "Hey, you don't have it. Click here to download it to install it." But I went ahead and I'm going to include it on the USB, so you can just do that from the get-go if you want. Um, but I want to make sure there's nothing else that on a fresh system like that becomes a blocker, because I don't want to send out 10 of these and then none of them or only one of them works for some reason, that sort of thing. So I want it to be as slick as possible experience for people who join me and help me do this, because this can become so much more, and the whole drive of it is for people at home to do it. You shouldn't have to be a millionaire streamer or content creator to have a 4090 at home or higher and generate this content and make something yourself. Um, so if people join me, we'll just expand this and expand this and expand this. It's all about, it has it in the name in a way. I think I closed that window, but I'll pull it up again anyway, because I'm just practicing streaming anyway. There's probably no one out there. But so even though I spelled team with T-E-E-M, like, to thrive, it's also meant to be a double meaning, as in a team, like teamwork. So if people join me in teamwork, which is what this down here is describing, how to become a member. You're not becoming a member on Patreon, Story Runners, and the Discord just so that you could pay me some money each month, even though it's not that much. But the point of that would be to be a team member. So you're in the Discord, you're saying, I tried this and this worked out great, and here's settings you can use, and other people see that and they try it and then they have a good experience. People give feedback, say, I tried this and it didn't work, it broke, it gave me an error message, whatever. So there's this iterative teamwork process. Oh, new feature ideas. What would be really great is if this had this AI capability that, then I could try to figure that out and bake it in if it's something that will work on a consumer computer. And quite frankly, there's a feature that I don't have baked in yet, but I've definitely had AI help me do this initial research and documentation part, like I was showing a minute ago. I've already had it do that for this other feature, which is to I should be able to rent a AI rendering service and put this app on that rendering service and make it so that here in the user interface, right here where it says service, send to service, send all to service, what that's talking about, sending these rows right here off to be rendered to this service right here. This is the service running. You see the lip sync flow, which has two subservices for two separate AIs it uses to create these videos. So right here, I can add another option. It says send to remote service. And then that would mean sending it off, the zip file off, like Del Norton does manually now with me. It'll instead send it off to a server I have sitting there waiting and listening, and it'll pick up the zip file under your account so they don't get them mixed up. And then it'll send it off to this AI rendering service automatically, which has my server running on it. See here, it'll have this part, these three services running on it. It'll do the rendering on one of those $30,000 GPUs, and send it all back, package back up as a zip file again, and then download it into the app. And so even if you don't have a 4090 or above, or if you do and you just want to do something else, maybe you want to play a game while it's rendering, or you just want to, or you're doing so much, you're actually going for it like Del Norton is with this 5-hour radio, which is about to become like a 10-hour radio series show. Um, if if you're going all out like that, maybe you don't want to wait to render on your PC. Maybe use your PC to do all the renders to get the prototype all in place, and then when you have like hundreds of these scripts all ready to go, you just send them all off to the service, and it'll be back there just chunking away at them and sending them back to you as it gets them done. Of course, that would cost money. I need to figure out how to make it so that the members can pay additional that goes towards that. I haven't figured that out yet. But there's some way of doing it. And so then you'd have best of both worlds. You'd have this AI studio system that right now supports these lip sync videos that you can run all local if you have a workstation that can handle it, and or send it off for cheapest possible remote rendering. And then if we all work together as a team and expand on that, as you can imagine, can grow into every type of AI imaginable, all into this command console for generating the type of content that we come up with. I like the stories idea, these generating stories and dungeon mastering experiences, and we should be able to integrate all kinds of AIs into advanced concepts, more creative, more beyond just create me a picture type, create me a video type AI concepts, where it's actually these workflows, large workflows that create whatever, like an entire book. In the case of this Tell Me a Tell AI, I definitely want to put the videos into these books. These books already generate an AI image for every page, but I would like it to take that image, send it to one of these videos, and make it all animated. So these characters in the book are now not just a picture per page. The characters are saying and doing things per page, and there's more ideas like that we could go with it, put big into it over time. Well, that's one, like the storytelling type concept. We can expand upon that as a team for years and make it more and more perfect, more and more creative, and do things that just are not possible today, sci-fi stuff. But we can do that in other areas, like streamers. Streamers today are manually putting together all these different AI tools that they're jumping from tool to tool and stitching everything together to make their content that they're starting to put into their streaming. But we could create an entire workflow, the streamer's workflow. So instead of putting out these Dungeons and Dragons or whatever type stories, these role-playing stories, or just a book, but instead of doing that sort of thing, you could be all about streamers. Whatever type of workflow would be needed to help streamers do their thing. I've seen the streamers do clips of their videos. There's some kind of AI thing with that needs to be done to help them have higher production value and have it be automated, and so they don't have to do so many things manually. But that takes teamwork, and that's what's been so great about working with Del Norton, is that process has started. He is actually using it. He's running into issues, either problems or things that could be made more automated and slick. And as I'm working with him, I'm running into the same things, issues, new features I like to add to make it go faster. Like I just added that you just watched me do it. That splitting into sentences, splitting into chunks that are 30 seconds or less, and so that just sped it up by working with him. It led to that feature being created. So if people join the Story Runners Patreon Discord, it creates a feedback loop, an engine I'm not the engine. Together as the team, we're the engine, but I've got all this experience for 40 years of coding experience and 8 of AI coding. So I can bring that to the table. And if everybody else joins me and puts money into it, that's part of the ability for this to become independent and full time. If everybody does that and works with me and provides this feedback like Del Norn has been doing up to this point, we can take this to wherever you guys dream up for it to go. But you have to join me, and it's all available now. It's out there. I'm not advertising even this stream. I haven't told anybody about. But once I get these USBs tested on Tuesday or next week, really, it's going to be a few more days worth of testing. I think I'm done. I think it's just a matter of selling these, figuring out getting how to get on Patreon, hopefully, and sell items like this. I don't know if that's supported, but hopefully it is. If not, there's some other online store thing I can integrate in to make it happen. And then I need to figure out how to get people out there aware of this whole streamteam.com, about how I've got these available for people to buy off me for whatever. I haven't figured out a price yet. If people were to give me some kind of a, stumble upon this video and give me some feedback, that'd be great. How much do you think it'd be worth to create these types of lip sync videos where you just type in text, put in a picture, and auto generates the audio for you? It auto generates the lip synced video for you, and you can do it at home on your own PC by plugging in a USB. How much is that worth? And the USB itself, it's 250 gig drive, so it costs $20 some just for that. So it's got to be that plus shipping plus enough money on top of that to drive this engine. But we'll see, because obviously the more money coming in, then I can turn around and pay for advertising, marketing, and I know that will drive people to it. That's one way of driving people to it. Though the streaming is supposedly, another way of doing it, which I'm practicing right now. I need to figure out how to make it spread or whatever. But first step is practicing these streams and learning OBS and all that, which is what I'm doing here. And like today is the first time I got it to stream to both Rumble and YouTube, so that's progressing as well. Okay, so great. So you just saw me add with AI added a new feature in. This checkbox was already here, but only split by sentences. It just basically looked for a period and split on that. Now it's doing a calculation of words per minute and breaking it up in multiple sentences if there are multiple sentences available. And so that should get us a much better experience using this. Okay, so what should I work on next? What time is it? 12:52. I've been going since 7 something. I think I will shut this down and take a little break and play a little bit of stop the services. Play a little bit of PoE 2 for a few minutes. Progress my new character a little bit, and then I'll come back and I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out what. Oh, actually, I need to have it continue doing this. I think add minimum chunk size handling. Well, it already did that. Improve edge case handling. So here, I tested this and it worked well. Are there any steps left? Because it did not say they're all done, but it may just did not go back and update it like it should have. Are there any steps left? In the progress document not implemented. So what I'm trying to do is keep it from, it's an intern that knows the whole internet and it's overzealous in action. I have to be careful or in how I word myself to it, or it'll go, oh, I see what you're saying. Let me go do that. It's like, no, thank you for being so proactive, but hold on. I want you to, um, if so, describe what is left to do. Yeah, just let's start with talking. No changing things. Yeah. If you describe what is left to do. Okay. Because it should have checked these all off if it was done with them. I want to see. Okay, I actually like that to do, and I want to expand upon it. So glad I thought to ask. Okay, add minimum chunk size. Okay, this is a good idea. However, it should also support adding a small sentence. No, no, 35 is long enough, probably. Because it split that one test I just did into 3 rows instead of 2, like I was thinking it should have, and it might have been able to pull off the third sentence, the third chunk, which was just one sentence, being part of the original paragraph. It might have been able to do that, but it would have went past 35 words to however long that sentence was. But it's talking about short sentences. Yes, this is going to have support adding a very short sentence to the previous paragraph. Yeah, it's okay if it's always a very short sentence, because you can go from like 35 up to 38 or 40, and that generally should be enough room to fit within the words per minute. So yeah. So like in our case, that last sentence actually wasn't super short, but if it was for some reason, this expansion on task 2.1 should be done so that if it can be snapped to the previous paragraph, or if it happens to be for whatever reason split off on its own at the beginning, it can snap to the next paragraph either way. And those are the type of automations that I'm talking about here. It's one thing to have all these AI apps all over the place that people are using, but when you start building a complete workflow system like this, you're saving all these little bits of time that look not so important individually, but when you're sitting there doing this for hours and hours and hours, like as a job, or creating something big like Del Norton is, you can actually, that all adds up and saves not only time, but all kinds of frustration and stuff dealing with all these little all these micro adjustments. Just let the automation handle that. Okay, improve edge case handling. What does it mean? Better handling of very long sentences, special characters, dialogue markers, etc. Okay, yeah. Let me expand on that as well. Okay. Improve edge case. This should also include a configurable option with a I'll say a user interface interface element. I don't want to say checkbox exactly right now to give it a chance to be a little bit creative in its choice. It's a user interface element. Does it come up with a checkbox? Does it come up with something else? Because it may see a situation where, well, I'll expand this into being some other type of interface element to support multiple related features that you have in here, and instead of just adding checkboxes over and over. Um, in fact, that UI is getting kind of cluttered right now with stuff. So adding more and more things at this point is it's going to have to get cleaned up anyway. This should also include a configurable option with a user interface element to choose if was it acronyms to choose if acronyms should be detected and separated by spaces because the AI TTS usually tries to say them as words instead of single letters. Some all capital letters in a word or ending with a small s. Okay, so here, some in a single letter, some acronyms end with a small s to be a plural form. And in this case, the last capital letter of the acronym should keep the small s next to the capital letter without an additional space between them, which will make it so like if it's instead of it saying ABCS, I want it to say ABCs, just like that, ABCs, if that S is on the end to sound plural. So that's what I'm trying to get it. That's what I'm suggesting it do here. Okay. 2.2, 2.3, add better error handling and validation. Okay, that's fine. I don't even need to expand upon that. You know what typical best practices are for error handling. Just do it. It's boring. Don't want to think about it. Optimize performance. What it means: cache word counts. Optimize for very large text. That's the intern thing again. I need to keep in mind it's not super experienced, so I'm going to have to give it a clue. Do not bother with optimization of this kind, since modern computers process this amount of text nearly instantly. This would be over optimization. Spending time risking change for things that would make no noticeable difference. Phase 3 configuration, low priority. Add setting classes. This means create a text splitting settings class to store user preferences. No, I don't think that is necessary. UI controls for configuration. Yes. Words per minute. Nah, I mean, there's a hard limit of 30 seconds. I don't think that's necessary. Add preview functionality, show estimated chunks before creating entries. Huh, no. Do not skip this task. And I think I want to change that because even though that looks nice having it on a list with title text, for a human, this is an AI we're dealing with here, so I want it to get its context set first. Skip this task. Which task? The next one coming up. That's how these LLM AI models work, is the next thing coming is predicted from the things that came before. And even though they can definitely get around that, they're really powerful nowadays. That's still how they work, and they will get a higher probability guess if you if you construct your prompt in a way that operates that way. So skip this task comes first. That's going to set up a probability context where it's waiting to see, okay, then I have more text coming here. Given that I'm in the skip this task context, what does that text mean? Well, it can reverse it, but once again, it has to do all this extra thinking to do that. So because I've built these things already before and I know how they work, I'm going to make it more likely to do it right the first time by readjusting my prompt like this. Skip this task, okay? And I think I want to skip the next one too. Skip this task. And so being repetitive, you wouldn't necessarily do that with another human, but this is an AI, not a human. Repetition and saying things in slightly weird ways, if it's the order is right, it totally makes sense and works. Okay. I do like this, though. Add settings persistence. Okay. Well, actually, skip this task. Keep this task. Skip testing. I'm doing the testing. Okay. What did I tell it to do? Nothing. I just building up context. Okay. We're doing it the way I'm doing it here, kind of. You saw me do it earlier. You can accidentally, it's not the best place to type up your prompts because you actually hit enter or control enter instead of shift enter, and then it sends off the prompt and tells it to start going. And then you have to hurry and stop it before it starts changing things. But I'm doing it anyway because I'm video recording this, and it makes it a little bit more straightforward than what I normally do, which is pop open a notepad or a notepad and build up my prompt there before pasting it in over here. Okay, anyway, so skip test. Okay. Update the progress. Once again, you see I'm getting it to generate the next prompt. and keep that prompt up to date, because this document is being used as part of the prompt, part of its memory. Update the progress document with the directives above. Once again, to follow my own advice from earlier, go back to the top and set the context first. Update the progress document with the directives below. So set the context first. That's what I want it to do. I want it to update this document with whatever I say to do down here. And that makes it more accurate, more likely to guess correctly. Go. And it's thinking now, doing its thing. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Oh, it's done already. The core features complete and working the remaining tasks are enhanced. That would make the feature run, but they're not essential if you want to. What did it do? Oh, darn it. I never actually hit I probably hit shift enter is probably what I did out of habit instead of hitting enter. Okay, send, go. Now the AI is thinking. Funny. I was confused why this wasn't being updated. Added notes about what I want added. Okay. Continue with next steps. And again, I'm going to, I think this one tab is here. I think this one tab is saying whichever tab I have open, maybe it gets included as a prompt, but I haven't ever looked that up to see for sure. And plus I could flip tabs around and accidentally send the wrong stuff in. So I'm just going to drag drop time-based splitting plan, both of these in, so it knows what the original plan was and what the progress so far is. So that's its memory, right? Starting with an all new, starting with all new conversation, which is what I'm going to do now. This one's been going on long enough. Let me just start over and drag these over there again. Get rid of that. Okay. So we're starting off with an all new conversation. So the AI is coming in fresh. What's this application? The one we've been working on all day? Yes, what is this application? That's basically where the AI is at this point. I started a new conversation. Now it does have the indexing in the background done I talked about earlier. The cursor does. And so it's like it has a pre-inspection of the whole project sitting there. But still, with this conversation, with this chat, the AI is coming in like it's never seen it before. And then it's going to turn around and look at these two documents I've given it and whatever else I type in here, and then it's going to go look at that indexed database about the project, has all this information about the project in there, and it's going to start going, he wants me to do some kind of text splitting feature updates thing here. What's available in this project? You know, it's going to be acting like it doesn't know what the hell's I'm talking about, and it's going to refresh itself and then start going. And that's what these putting these files in are all about. Is I'm saying here is the original plan for moving from the old feature to the new feature. This is saying that's been done, and here's some steps that are not done yet, some extra advancements, enhancements to do to it, and you can see which things are checked off and which things aren't, so you know how much of it's done, how much of it is not done. And then it can turn around and go from there, from that starting point, and go, okay, let me see the code in this form and think about how do I implement the steps that are not done yet. Continue with next steps, just like that. But instead of calling the steps, I'm going to call it tasks, because the things that it has checked off as done and not done, it's calling tasks. So continue with next tasks. And off it goes. This is where I would normally spend like the rest of my day fighting through to adding these features in. And by the time, you know, like 11 o'clock at night, I might be finally doing my last couple tests where I'm polishing it up and it's all working now finally. And I never got to play any games or anything because it just took my whole day. What should have been a relatively small feature as I iterate on it and think about, oh, it needs to do this too, it needs to do that also. Why is this not working? Oh, why is the whole thing seeming broke? And like 4 hours later, finally it's not broke anymore. I had a typo that whole time for 4 hours straight, and all the stupid stuff that happens. AI can just frustrate the hell out of itself doing all that. That's basically what it comes down to. And that's what my career comes down to. You know, I've been coding since I was 10 years old. I'm 50, about to hit 51, so that's 40 years of coding. And so I know very well what it's like to do this over and over and over. And now it's just I just have AI do it, which is like this. And no, it doesn't necessarily do it on the first shot. It doesn't need to. That's not how development works. You iterate. Development is iterative, and that goes for the AI as well. Now, if everything was like, they've got AI set up where they can read themselves GitHub, the code repository, and check things in and out of GitHub and make its own updates. And so all it really needs is a computer to test things out. As you've seen, I've already got this process where I get the AI to inject its own logging. In this case, it's because I didn't tell it to, I didn't prompt it correctly. It just said, okay, I'll just log to the debug window, which is the first best guess. That's what it should have done. But if I had told it to, it would have logged out the file. And then after it got done running this, after it got done doing, or it needed to debug something, then it would inject the logging to file. Then it would run the app would shut down, then it'd go read the logs and see what had happened. And on its own, and then you'll see it read the logs and come up with a plan about, oh, I see the problem. Here's what needs to be done to try again, and it'll make some adjustments, maybe add more logging, and it goes through this process all on its own. So if you set things up for it correctly like that, and have GitHub available for it to do its own check-ins and checkouts, and a place to test the app and do logging. Now, that's what I was talking about earlier. Also, the UI, I don't have a way for it to test the user interface, but soon they'll be doing that as well. So this stitching the flow together, like you see me doing here, where I'm getting it to generate progress reports and feed those back in and tell it to continue on, et cetera, et cetera. That could probably all be automated as well, just by setting it up correctly, its environment, so that it can do it. And so it's like taking cursor to the next level, and I think that's possible now. I've seen that they already have this a few different AIs. I think OpenAI supports it with their codecs, and I think Cursor maybe supports it, where it just integrates in with GitHub. So at some point, I'm going to try that. But right now, I'm just kind of hand holding it along. What is this? Simpler code review. Open an agent. Open an agent window. What does that mean? New agent. Discuss type. Huh. I don't know, some new feature or some feature I've never used before. I've never seen that pop up before. It's like an expanded view of what I was already using. Instead of the chat being off on the right, it's now like in the middle and has a history of today's chat. So it's like a work environment. Um, okay, sorry about that. I need to do some dog babysitting a little bit later. All right. Yeah, so it's like maybe it's sort of like OpenAI's project view or something. What would a new agent do? Just a new chat. And then that thing that was on the right disappeared. And okay, so if I close it, does it go back? Okay, so it's just an expanded view to make it easier to see all this. It's probably a new feature because that's been a problem for a while, having all squished up over there on the side. Okay, so it said it got done. I'll have to test it, but let me close this, see what happens. Hopefully it goes back, and it did not go back. Great. Toggle AI pane. Okay, and we're back, it looks like. Continue time-based text. Okay, yeah, I was able to get back. I don't know how to open that up if I ever wanted to again. Is that what this is? Open agent window. Yeah, okay, I think that's a new feature. I don't remember seeing that there before. Now somebody at work needs help. Yeah, give me a second here. I need to check and make sure my team doesn't actually need my help. Okay, no, that's not related to what I thought. Well, you can use my help a little bit by me tagging somebody else who I know is the person that should be helping. But I never use my phone for this. This stinks. How do I get back? I don't know how to get back. Weird. This interface is not great. There we go. Okay. I reply. All right. Finally. Okay. Okay. I think that's enough. It doesn't look like an emergency situation that I can tell, so wait and see. Okay, so as you can see, I have a day job, and I've had my entire career up to this point, and I take it real serious, and I work real hard at this stuff that I do, um, and that's what I when I was giving my little speech earlier about teamwork. That's what I'm talking about here with Stream Team. Is that's essentially what I'm offering is if a bunch of people, tens of thousands of people, want to join me and make childhood dreams become technological realities, or you're just a streamer and you want to automate all your workflow with AI stuff, we can work together as a team. I'm a pro. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. My whole mind is just flowing with a cloud of code. I've been a workaholic for the past 30 years as well. So, really bad. So I can make pretty much anything happen, especially with AI. As you can see, I sit here and use AI just normally. I'm not really chatting with it. I'm using it as a tool full on to make professional level stuff happen. So if a bunch of people want to work with me and I can and use me to churn this stuff out for the public, that can happen. But it takes teamwork. I'm not going to. I've already put in the work essentially. That's why I keep. This isn't like a Kickstarter situation, though maybe I need to use Kickstarter. I'm going to ask AI and see what it recommends to get this thing going. But these with a Kickstarter, you basically say, I have a dream to make these apps, and if you fund this effort, and here's all the things that we'll make. No, I already made them. I spent the past 2 years in all-out workaholic, learn AI to take over my career mode, and I've made these apps, and they're here already. And the fourth one, which I'm working on today, the lip sync flow one. So I've already did my part. I just need a bunch of people to come join me and not only and create this feedback loop of money and ideas and like bug reports or anything else. The developers to add plugins to these things, a feedback loop, and we could turn it into something awesome. Okay. So, and that's why I'm showing this stuff, so people can. Normally, I'm very reclusive, and especially when it comes to my work, I don't let people see me coding. Not even at work. I've had managers try to stand over my shoulder and watch, and that ain't happening. I'll go browse the internet for a while until they leave or something. That's not happening. But here I am doing it now after all these years. It's not like a private matter anymore. I'm not even really coding myself directly. I'm applying my coding knowledge to drive AI to create to do all the mundane aspects of coding. I'm more of a developer now, like my title often was, even though usually people think of us as coders, which we are. We're professionally in the businesses, so, we're developers, we're solution providers, that type of thing. So we do more than just coding. Sometimes it's research and inventing, um, not just coding. Okay, acronym detection and spacing, good. Added a checkbox. Okay, that's fine. We'll see that fit in. Yeah, NASA to NASA. Okay, and CD to CDs. No, 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 no. Handles both regular acronyms and plural acronyms. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, but it called it plural acronyms. So I'm going to use that same language. Exactly. Plural acronyms should not have a space between the last capital letter and the S. And maybe has notes further down where it points that out, and it was just not being clear in its note there or something, but it probably was an issue. And once again, it's an intern. It doesn't just get everything right the first time. It's focus. It's making guesses about every single word that's popping out, and it's building this multi-step context to produce that word. And so its focus is on some aspect of of the tasks at hand because it's trying to predict the next word for a task. And so it's only concentrating on one slice of what work needs to be done and thought through. And so it can take like shortcuts or fuzzy predictions that end up being wrong in this instance because it's thinking maybe in that as it's writing that part of the feedback, it's thinking of what's the best practice way for doing this, and maybe out on the internet, it has baked into its memory all kinds of projects where they did literally want it to leave the S off the end. In my case, because I'm trying to do text to speech, I'm getting another AI to speak these words. It's not for print. I wanted to use a very specific rule where it keeps that small s on the end of the last capital letter. And once I tell it to focus on that aspect of it, then it goes off and gets that all right. It's not hallucination. That's very similar to the way people think and act. And you just need to think of interacting with AI that way, and you do much better. I see people complaining on the internet all the time. I see YouTube videos where they're talking about the end of AI is here. It can't go any better, and it doesn't even work now, and all this stuff. And it's like, and then people complaining and saying, "Yeah, next thing you know, they're going to down the chats, in the the YouTube chat." I see people saying things like, "Yeah, next thing you know, they'll be telling us that we're prompting it wrong." You are prompting it wrong. I could sit here and do this all day long at work, at my day job. I have videos I've recorded for leadership of me making applications, multiple applications, straight from AI, pure from AI. I didn't do any of the coding, and they're sophisticated apps. So I know for a fact what AI can do, and those people that are saying that stuff are wrong for a fact. I mean, you see me doing it here live. I've done it live for my team at work. I've had them sit there and do like a show and tell situation where I sat there for an hour and a half and made an empty folder on my computer become a application, a full application that had all the features in it. And they were in the middle, going, see, it doesn't work. It can't figure it. It's like, we're iterating here, just like when you develop. Just hold on. By the end of the hour and a half, the whole thing was done. It was all working, and everybody's uncertainties were gone. This stuff works. You just have to prompt it correctly. You have to communicate with it correctly. And the correctly means you think of it as an intern that has read the whole internet, and it has human-like issues along the way when you need to direct its focus and think about how don't give it too much to do all at once. Just like with an intern, break up the problem into pieces and hand that out to it. And not because you don't want to overwhelm it with too much work, but because even with a human intern, but because you don't want it to get overwhelmed with too much knowledge that they have to keep in their mind at once, and so they mess the whole thing up. If you think like that, it works out much better for you. It's not that it has no limits, but that hallucinates all the time. That stuff is just the human, the person behind the keyboard messing up, not prompting correctly most of the time. Okay, so now I need to go test this. Let's see here. What was the extra? Oh yeah, I added a few extra enhancements. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I was going to play PoE2 for a little bit, and I got sidetracked. This almost always happens. It's the weekend, I'm going to play a little bit of a game and end up 8 hours later still coding and totally forgot. Okay, so I don't have to do that. I forgot. It starts one at the beginning. Start a new character though. You have to have at least one character. Ooh, it broke something right there. Acronym spacing auto size equals true. So once again, what do I do? A lot of developers say, okay, this AI is not ready. It's not. It can't be used. Bull. Where, as a human, what would you do next? Well, I would look at the details. Well, what do you know? Visual Studio has a feature built right in to copy the details as text. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. Stop Visual Studio. I'm not going to try to fix this. Like I said, it's what's happened to my career. It's already happened. That's why I'm getting really, really good at AI over the past 8 years to try to do what I've always done in the past, keep surfing the wave of technology. So I'm going to paste in, there's the error. I don't have to really hit anything else. I have to tell it that that's what it is. It'll get the hint when it sees it. I see the issue. You can see it right there. It got the hint from just the error message from Visual Studio. It'll go fix it. If it doesn't do it this time, I'll give it another try. If it doesn't work that time, I'll give it 20 more tries. You just iterate. It gets there. It can go down blind alleys where it'll never get out, but that's on you to be watching what it's doing to what's the term? Supervise it and see if it's starting to do that. And usually when it does, that's because something that you've done wrong. Meaning myself, I did that just the other day. I had it building an app using one technology that wasn't really the best technology to use for it, and I just wanted something whipped out quick, and I ended up having to stop and say, no, build that using this over here instead, and stop, just delete all that junk that we did, because it's going to confuse you if you see that old stuff there, and asking you to build a new copy, the same thing using a different technology. So there is human in the loop to keep it the flow going good and successfully, at least for right now. Okay, it thinks it fixed it, so let's come back over here and try again. Yeah. Reload the new stuff. Almost did it again. Got a bad habit going straight to file. Okay, shim character, start a new one. Did not blow up this time. Good. And let's get our example as the acronyms. Split text, add spaces between acronym letters. Okay, fit it right in there, though it squeezed everything down, so I need to make the form taller so that our old status label down here can still be seen. It pushed everything down to fit that checkbox and that box there, which I didn't want a button. I called it a box. I really didn't want a button. Well, it's got so much stuff here that's probably better. Okay, that's much better. I was thinking of it just having a little label back here on the screen with like a count, but it really breaks it out in detail here. This is nice. 38 words, approximately 16 seconds. Nice. I like it. Put the spaces in with the S on the end. Perfect. This is AI coding right here. They call it over in YouTube. They're calling it vibe coding for some reason. I don't know. Non-coders came up with that. Oh, look, I can code. Let's call this vibe coding. I don't know where it came from, but it's just coding using AI as a tool. Uh, but believe me, like I said, all the stuff that's happening right here, I don't look all stressed and angry on my face right now because I'm running into bugs that I'm fighting through over and over. That's what normally happens with coding. I mean, half of it is stress management. Spacing will be applied. Okay, that's fine. And it's probably better that it's there to remind them. And that's nice. I like that. That's why I like to not always in every instance tell it exactly what I want done. Leave a little bit of fuzziness around certain areas because it'll get creative or maybe it has baked into it something that it's seen done on some other project on the internet, and then that was a good idea, and it's like, oh, and it come in, and then its probability calculation goes, I think that makes sense here too, and then adds it in, and maybe add it into some new area that was never. It's not exactly like in the other project, but it's the same general concept redone in this new area, and it's like, wow, I've never seen that done to that like that before. That was actually a good idea. Just like kind of like inventiveness. But anyway, it's if I gave it a screenshot of this form with GPT-5 and maybe with GPT-5, I think it takes images, but Gemini, um, which Cursor just has an image button down there, so I don't really know which AI it's using, but Gemini supports it for sure if you go like straight to Gemini and use it on Google's website. But Cursor has all those baked in, has many model types baked in behind it, and if you use the auto option, which is, I'm just seeing that in my head instead of showing you. So again, I normally work alone, so I don't have to show people anything. This auto option down here has all the models hidden behind it, where it chooses when to use which models, and which it tries to save money by choosing lower level models for things it doesn't think it needs bigger things for. That Supernova 1 million, I wanted to look that up. I used that the other day and just to try it out. I didn't know what it even was. I still don't know what it is, but it worked. So 1 million, that's probably a 1 million token window. So that's probably just like Gemini. That's nice. So you have lots of models behind Cursor available, and there's cool. They've got that codex built in here now. Nice. Okay. So, what was I talking about before I got distracted there? Auto. Darn it. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was even doing. I got chit-chatting about using AI. Oh yeah, I was preaching about how AI really works. Okay, so oh, it's yeah, it's because I was impressed by looking at the features over here. It worked. Yeah, that's right. The preview worked. Bam, that's nice. Now let's see if the splitting works. The acronym thing worked. I could see it in the preview. So, oh, that's what I was saying. Right. I could take a screenshot of this form and give it to Cursor. I was going to show the button right down here is the image button, so you can feed it an image. So I could take a screenshot, and I've done this several times now. It's worked every time. It's got to be limits, but you can take a screenshot of this form and see how this label is falling behind this button here now because it pushed everything down. You can see how this button is cutting off the text a little bit too. I could take a screenshot of this, upload it into the Cursor, and say, and I don't like the sizing on the form, fix it. Now, I haven't had success with that with most of the models in the past, but once GPT-5 came out and I tried, right around that timeline, I started trying out this feature in Cursor. I don't know if it's given it to GPT-5 now that I think about it. It could be doing something else with it, but in any case, whatever Cursor's doing with that image, it's worked every time. And there's got to be, and before that, it had a hard time, the AI creating these interfaces. They just have things laying on top of each other, off screen, all kinds of stuff. But I'm here recently giving it the screenshot of the UI and asking it to fix things. It's been working out well. All right, so oh right, I need to give it the see, I can't even see the button to give it the voice now. It's not I can't do it. Because it's messed up the user interface. So I can't really test that yet. I want to go back out and fix that. So I could do that, but I'm not going to now. I'm just going to do it manually because Visual Studio has drag drop stuff built in anyway. So, and I don't want to lose all my skills because I'm having AI do everything. Okay. Let's drag this down. Wow, where are the buttons that were there? Huh, what's this box? Reference audio. Okay, and what's the? Okay, that's the video prompt. So it literally laid things on top of each other. Okay. Let's add more. Using my arrow key on my keyboard, scoot it down. There. Character speaks. That's usually just a short prompt there. You don't want to get too fancy with the video control prompt because that'll just confuse the AI, make it do weird things. Character speaks is pretty basic, but it seems to work every time. If you just give it a picture of some character and tell it to say something. But if you, Dale Norn was putting commands in there to tell, because he has a story going, and so at one point he wants characters upset, and so he says, he describes the emotions that they should have, and the AI's been doing it. So, okay, preview. Where can I put this? I'd like to squeeze it in somehow better. I don't know. I just don't like this layout. This form is getting too crowded with stuff. Sequence. Where was that at? Oh, okay. Select that also. Move it to there. Hmm. Okay. Let's shorten that. That's just too much. I can make that a tooltip. I don't think we even have tooltips on this. Oh, we do right there. Okay, so darn it, no. Why tooltip right there. Okay. Take all that text, put it on as a tooltip instead, and shorten it here. Keep just the CDs part. Yeah, fit right in there now. Okay. What do I? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe having this gap in there, at least for starters for now, is good because it helps really visually separate that this is something else. Image controls and sequence and post-processing. Those are all it's okay. All right. Yeah. I'll just leave it like that. And I think I should not have done that. Yeah, same thing here. Snap it. Yeah, right there. Okay, let's test again. Del Norn Special Edition. He's the only one using it, so I gave him a little splash screen there. Hopefully, lots of people will be using this soon. No, I don't need to do a new one. Okay, let's get my test text. I want it split. I want acronym processing. Preview the text. Looks good. Now I can pick a voice print. Yes. All right. And the label's missing. Darn it. I want to fix that. Find that and slide it in there. Okay. And text has been split into 3 chunks based on estimated speaking time. Acronyms based. Okay. That's nice and all for testing, but I want that dialog gone. Text split complete. Do not show the text split complete dialog. When the add button is clicked. And it split it. And does it have the acronyms? Yes. Perfect. I did it. Got it all. It was overzealous with the dialog box. Like I said, it's like an intern. Yeah. Yes, you can do that, and it's nice feedback or whatever, but it's not really. Users just get sick of it after creating these scripts. There's already some place in here. I haven't found it. I didn't quite understand what Del Norn was saying, but there's some dialogue in here, unless I've already gotten rid of it, that kept popping up that he didn't like and was wanted it to go away. And that was one of those instances right there that the AI put that in. We don't need a dialogue there every time I click the add button, or well, it was an add button when you first start, like right there, that button. And we need more room down there. I forgot about that. Okay, so that label and that label need to be fixed in the UI. And what did it? I'll remove the text split complete dialogue. Yeah, that's right. I don't want that. And okay, the label that goes above that thing, where is it? Right there. Okay. And then we need more room down below, like that. All right, let's try it again. Sample text, split acronym processing. There's the label, all looks good. I'll put in the voice print. And okay, there's the feature with all the enhancements. Perfect. Good work, AI and me. Got that. Oops, don't do that. Save. Okay. Now we have advanced the UI a bit. Yeah, I don't know. What else? Do I have a to-do list here anywhere with more ideas of things? Or do we have them all done? I don't see any docs. I think I deleted it. I think we're all done. What else? I'm trying to think there's something else Del Norn maybe mentioned that was an issue of some kind, but oh, he was a bit confused about using this. Okay. now an idea is forming. So we got this extra space in here. Let's see here. Can I anchor that on the right instead of the left? So that when I move the window, resize the window, it moves with it. And same thing here, here, and here. Anchor on the right instead of the left. Save it. Okay, so now when I drag the window, those controls should flow with it. Yep, perfect. Okay. So, I don't like this taking up that room. Squeeze these down. Move this up a little bit. Not much room. Okay. I should put a better label on that. Text to speak. Okay. Does that have a tooltip? No. I've got two tooltip controls also for some reason. I don't know why there are two. Okay, whatever. That's a good idea. What does that preview text button do if I don't check those checkboxes? Error. Get the test text. Preview without any. Okay, so it still works. It previews the splitting. Okay, so what if I don't check the box at all? Will it still split? It shouldn't. All right, good. It did not. And then so it kept it all. Yeah, and then if it did, right? 3 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs. Yeah, okay. And then but the preview is showing what would happen if it split it. Okay, and then darn it. Okay, right there's a problem. I already did it very first time. Just need to move that. It's getting in the way of the checkboxes like that. Okay, now I won't accidentally check one or something, and then oh, that text is so long. I don't like that either. Let's stretch this all out to make it match. Make it look like it was meant to be like that in the first place anyway. Okay. All right, that's close enough. Yeah, shit, that still looks kind of funky. Let's stretch that out. That leaves more room just by doing that for something else. Okay. Now there's all this open space here that could be used for help documentation. How about a rich text box? Background color. Just what's the forms background color? Standard window color. App workspace maybe? No. Well, it doesn't hurt for it to be a different color, I guess. What about a border? Just a fixed 3D. Fixed single. I could put my own help in there, but I'm going to give AI the first shot at it. Okay, so let's start with a new chat so it doesn't get confused about the work it was just doing. I'll come back over to the script editor dialog as my starting prompt. Say, okay, look at that code. No, that's the wrong one. It's the dialog for editing. Oh, script entry. Is that script entry dialog? What's this called? Script entry dialog, yes. Okay. In the script entry dialog code, I want it to, oh, there is a rich text box. Okay, so I want to put documentation in this box to help the user understand how to use this form. Okay. The script, what's the name of the script editing form? Is it outside of this? Yeah, form main, no, form script, okay. In the form called form script, which is the main script editor form, there is a place to enter a character, which is required. There must be, it doesn't need to know that. Okay, which is required. The character gets a name and a default image assigned. The character assigned to a script entry uses the default image for each. The character assigned to a script entry uses the default image unless an image override is assigned or the feature to use the last frame of the previous script entry video as the first frame for the current script entry. The character assigned to a script entry uses the default image unless an image override is assigned by the user, or the feature to use the last frame of the previous script entry video as the first frame for the current frame entry is selected. Yeah, so that was something it may not get just by looking at this current script entry dialog. I'm going to have it edit. If it looked at just that form, it may not have seen that in the parent form that leads to that form, you have to enter the character information, which has a default image, which now it may have seen that because it'll read the code for script entry dialog and see that it's sometimes using that, that default image from the character. But I just want to make that clear, and by making it clear here, it's also going to probably make sure that it's going to be more likely to spell that specific thing out, which was a question that Delnoran had. So yeah, I take clues from customers when they are confused by anything, when they make a mistake. That's a clue to me to automate something better. So that's the case here. Is I'm just a second. I'm going to make sure that nobody at work needs my help. I heard them dinging back there. Yep. All right. Cool. The person I tagged jumped in to help, just like they should have. Awesome. Good job. All right. So a character. Okay. Right. All right. And so, I want you to put documentation in this box to help the user understand how to use this form. Yeah. All right, so it'll look at all the features on the form and come up with more documentation about this as well. And I'll have to review that because there may be some other things I'm not thinking to put in right now that it won't get just by looking at the code, maybe. And then once it's gathered that information and built that content for the help, then I can also have that information, basically that knowledge that it built up right here for this conversation to feed I'll add on to this conversation on the end to say also update the tooltips on everything on this dialogue, because it has two tooltip controls down there for some reason. So but I didn't see any tooltips on anything. So if they're missing, it can go through and add them on, which is an additional layer of help. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make sure the app's not running. Okay, it's not. Let's go ahead and have it do it. Let's see what it comes up with. All right, good job, AI. It understands the form structure. It sees the rich text help box. It says it's already done. I'm going to go test real quick, just like I don't see anything here. So what does it mean it's done? Let's run it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's loading it from a file. Maybe it created a file and put the content in there. I don't know. Let's see. Or maybe put it in as a resource or something. Or maybe it just didn't do it. Maybe it created the content and never put it in. We'll see. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way like it should, but sometimes, nope, it did. Sometimes it's just me. Well, we put a lot in there too. Script entry on basic settings, text to speak. Enter the dialog text. Use the checkbox below to automatically split. Okay, sequence optional grouping for organizations related script entries. Sequence. Oh yeah. Okay. Like sequence is one of those things. It doesn't really know what sequence is doing. I'll give it a little bit more details in a second. Select the character who will speak. Characters are created in the yep. Text processing. Okay. Into chunks of up to 14 seconds. Okay. Yeah. Um, like I said, it has a hard limit of 30, but the longer you go, the more distortion that can appear in the AI. So it'll break it up into chunks automatically, but um, you can go further if you want up to the cutoff. 150 words per minute. Where did it put this content? Right there. Right here, put it in, hard code it in as a text blob. Okay, so I had changed it from 150 per minute to 125. Where's that? 14 seconds. Oh, right there. Okay. Enter the option grouping. So acid and this. Okay, it's fine. Preview text. Let's see how your text will be divided before saving. Image sources in priority order. Image override specific image file for this entry. Use previous last frame. Yep. Use previous first frame. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you. I looked at the form and saw that extra feature and I forgot about it. Characters, default image set in main form. Yep. TTS parameters, exaggeration, CFG voice ID. Okay, speech, pacing, control. Okay, that's good. See, he didn't even know what that was for, and quite frankly, I hadn't paid any attention to it either. I forgot about it. So we got to play with that, Del Noren and I, to see, because he just put in text control in this video control text down here, this prompt, to get it to have emotions, but we got to try that out. Okay. Yeah, and it doesn't really know what that is. It has to do with that, like that grouping type stuff. Again, post processing, per clip processors. Yeah, validation. Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right. So what was? Oh, right. This part needs to explain. It has to do with sequences. So let me go tell it about that. Go back in there, click on that, and remind myself of all it supports. Edit per clip processors, right? Um, Edit final frame processors, additional video properties. Oh, right. I had that wrong. It's out. here. Okay, so I need to tell it that, see, the help should explain that the post as applied to it. Okay, that the post processing and right, that the post processing is FFmpeg commands and is applied to the videos generated. The sequence is used if a sequence is created in the form script, in this form, which allows extra video post-processing to be done across all of the videos um, in the sequence, and additional video properties shows extra, or shows advanced AI video generator controls. Okay, go update the documentation with that. Okay. Okay. Not going to get too deep into the FFmpeg stuff now. It's getting extra technical, and if somebody wants to actually do that, they need to learn a little bit more. So, for example, if we go look that up, FFmpeg, you can see right here what it is. So it's a video and image processing. Basically, like this is part of the internals of OBS and other apps out there. They use this to do their actual video work instead of creating that code themselves. This library does that, and you create these pipelines that do all kinds of processing to videos and images, conversions from one type to another, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, that's their example right there, video conversion. And there's all this documentation which gives lots of commands explaining how to do all kinds of things. And so that's what I pass into after the videos, the AI renders the videos. Then this FFmpeg gets used by these post processors here, like for each individual video clip, or processing just the final frame image from the video clip. Which, even though it says that apply fix to the last frame, okay, yeah, is used as the first. Yeah, okay. So that probably does not do any special processing to the first frame. I would to guess since I called it the final frame processor. But maybe not. Maybe it says final frame, not previous or first or last. So maybe that probably applies to whichever source it came from, quite frankly. Yeah. So in any case, there's many different effects, just any type of video effects or image effects you can think of. You've seen it in other apps. This thing supports all of that, and you can apply those. But the way you do it here is not super clear. It's just a place to enter in some specific commands that are FFmpeg specific, and so it's pretty technical. I'm going to have different documentation that goes in here that digs into that a little bit, but mostly points them back to here. So if they want to get really serious about having this render their AI videos and then do all this post-processing afterwards, they can. And like I said, if people support this and make it worth my while, then this is the type of thing I'm talking about. This whole thing can be expanded upon and turned into a nice visual experience instead of just this. But for right now, this is going to be a good start to see if people actually want to get into this and make it worth my while to really put a bunch more time into it. Okay, so for today, we've got that new splitting features in, the acronym handling, that's cool, preview, and some help. So that covered pretty much all the feedback I got from Dil Noren in his last batch. Take another little break here. All right, I'm back. So our AI work today has gone perfect. Got all new features added in, documentation added in. Dil Noren should get this latest update and hopefully make things a little bit easier on him. Oh, I described these USBs right here. So this whole app, which renders those AI videos, I'll go over it again, just in case somebody jumps in the middle of the stream, has no clue what the hell I'm talking about. So I've started StreamTeam.com. I spent the past 2 years making these AI apps. Either they're AI apps or I used AI to help make them. And this fourth one, which will go right over here, is what I've been working on today, is the Lip Sync Flow app. Right here, Lip Sync Flow UI. So that's what the AI was helping me with was making this app, and this is the front end for the app. So you create scripts right here. You create, oops, right here. No, 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 not right there. Let me just start the app. So use this form right over here to enter in characters that go in your script, and sequences have to do with combining multiple of these script entries together to do post processing to them. But um, characters to go that you want to use in your scripts, and the characters have a name and an image, like a starting image. So the character is standing there with some background or whatever, ready to start talking. And then you put script entries in, and you pick which character. Yeah, you have to put a character in. Let me just open another one that I've already done in the past. So you have a character. So you pick your character that you want to say something. You put in the stuff you want them to say. Pick all various types of options. Pick a voice print right here. It's audio of somebody saying something. It has to be about like 10 seconds or less, and then that voice is what's used to say whatever text you type in up here. And then optionally you could put in some extra video control prompt text to say like the character is scared or whatever. And there's various options for doing other types of processing of the video after it's been created, the AI video. But anyway, so that's the user interface to create scripts. Many videos that need to be created, not like going to one of these AI video websites and creating a video. You could put in hundreds of videos into because you're making a movie or a radio station, StantonRadio.com, like Del Norton is. Hundreds of videos that you can have in one of these scripts, or just a few, and back here in the main form, that's what it'll end up being used for probably, is for queuing or having like instead of just a script or like one of these scripts here that has characters saying some things. You could, I guess you maybe call them a scene script or something, but you could have hundreds of those. So each one of those scripts have characters saying stuff, one or more characters saying stuff, and then you can have hundreds of those scripts all in one. I don't know what I'll call it yet, a workflow of some kind. But anyway, you could submit that entire thing to the app. That's the AI video rendering service and text to speech service that's all integrated together as one and is already pre-installed on one of these USB drives. So you don't have to install Python, you don't have to install the AI libraries, you don't have to fight with why the pathings are there's errors saying that the different pieces of the Python apps can't find each other or can't find the AI models or the AI models, which are huge files, like 20, 30 gigabytes each. I mean, they're huge files, and they're out on maybe some like GitHub website or Hugging Face website. Maybe it's not available anymore, so now you can't even download the model files. Instead, it's all on this USB. And I've been testing it, so I can just unplug it from the PC where I made it, put it onto another PC to test, plug it in, and there's the app. It works. You don't even have to install anything. Or maybe at most there's a missing Windows update thing that you need, and it'll tell you that and let you download it automatically. So it makes it super simple if you're not a coder type person to use these advanced AIs, and it's set up in such a way that it will work on a consumer level GPU. It has to be 24 gigabytes of VRAM or more. It can work on less, but I'm not even going to show people how. I got it working on one at 12 gigabytes of VRAM, but had to make it an extra small video and put it in the special mode, and had to be a short video. It had to be 5 seconds or less, or else it just runs out of memory. So instead of messing with all that, 24 um, gigabytes of video RAM is what you need. So a 4090, maybe a 3090, haven't tested it, but probably a 3090, 4090, or like 5090 will work. And those are consumer level video cards. They're very expensive, $2,000 each type cost for those things, but the ones that the services use, like OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, those cost like $30,000 each. So who's going to spend $30,000 on a GPU just for doing AI? And yes, you can use one of those services, but once again, they're kind of got clunky interfaces. You have to pay for every one of the things you generate, and if a bunch of them you don't like, too bad, you had to pay for them anyway. Get one of these USBs from me. Sign up for Stream Team. I don't have them for sale yet. I'm going to test next week some more, and then I should be ready. I'll make these available for sale. And you just buy one, plug it into your computer. If you have one of those GPUs, 4090, 5090, 3090, plug it in, run the app, and start making your own AI videos. And do like Del Norton's doing, create some kind of content. Either create it just for your stream in general. I see some streamers out there already do, some of the wealthy streamers out there already doing that. Um, but instead of having to pay for those high-end services like they are, you just run it on your own PC. And or you can make like Del Norton's doing, making a story of some kind. He's making essentially like a TV show or something. And maybe you can make your own movies. Who knows? Creative people create all kinds of things and do it at home on your own PC with this. That's what this is all about here. And hopefully, by time I get done next week testing, it'll be available for everybody to come to streamteam.com, sign up, buy it. I may not make people sign up for streamteam.com. I might use it as sort of like a lure, so people buy this USB off me, get the AI video creation, lip sync creation software. They try it out. They're making AI videos. They're happy, and then they go and say, "Well, I'm going to go check out those other apps that Stream Team offers. That Story Creator app. I want to see that." And maybe that will be a way to get people to join. Is by making this AI text to speech and lip syncing video app super easy to use. I'll make it super easy to buy, and so that it doesn't even require any. It doesn't do the check to make sure that you're a member of the Discord. I might just do that, and then it's sort of like a bonus if they sign up for Story Runners on the Patreon. Okay, well, I think I'm going to take a break. I've been going since 7 something this morning, so yeah, it's several hours. Maybe it will stream again later. And let me end it.